Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that a lot of men won't admit but can't deny. Why so many of them chase women who seem emotionally distant. Men love a challenge. It's built into their nature. Since the beginning of time, men have been hunters, providers, and problem solvers. They are wired to pursue what they want, and they find deep satisfaction in conquering challenges. This is why when a woman is emotionally detached, it triggers something inside a man's mind. He feels the need to chase her. When a woman is emotionally available, she makes her feelings known. She expresses her love, care, and interest openly. While this might seem like a positive thing, some men take it for granted. There's no challenge, no thrill, no sense of earning something. But when a woman detaches emotionally, when she keeps her feelings guarded or acts indifferent, suddenly a man feels like he has something to prove. He starts asking himself questions. Why isn't she showing interest? What do I need to do to make her care? Make her care. And just like that, he's no longer in control of his emotions. She is. She hasn't promised him love. She hasn't even hinted at commitment yet. He feels the need to fight for her attention. It becomes a psychological game, one that many men don't even realize they're playing. Now, this isn't always about love. Sometimes a man isn't even deeply interested in a woman for the right reasons. He's just addicted to the pursuit. He wants to win. He wants to prove to himself and maybe even to his friends that he can make this emotionally distant woman fall for him. It becomes less about her and more about him. He equates the challenge with value, believing that if something is hard to get, it must be worth it. The moment she gives in, though, something interesting happens. The chase is over, and suddenly his excitement fades. He might still care about her, but that intense drive he had before, it weakens. The relationship shifts from pursuit mode to maintenance mode, and that's where a lot of men struggle. They thrive in the chase, but don't always know how to handle real emotional connection once they have it. Some women, whether consciously or subconsciously, understand this dynamic. They know that by staying emotionally detached, they can keep a man's interest longer. They don't text first, they don't express too much emotion, and they always give the impression that they can walk away at any moment. This creates a sense of urgency in the man. He doesn't feel secure, and that insecurity fuels his desire to work harder for her. He doesn't want to lose something that he hasn't fully captured yet. But here's where things get complicated. A woman who detaches emotionally may not be doing it as a strategy. She may simply not be that interested. Or she may have been hurt before and is guarding herself from getting too attached. Either way, the man chasing her is caught in a loop, trying to love from someone who may never fully give it. This cycle can be exhausting. The man invests time, energy, and emotion, thinking that if he just does a little more, if he just proves himself a little further, she will finally open up. But what if she never does? What if she isn't detached because she's playing hard to get, but because that's simply who she is? The harsh truth is that some men are more addicted to the idea of winning a woman over than they are to the woman herself. They are chasing validation, not love. They want the satisfaction of knowing they were good enough to break through her emotional walls. But love isn't supposed to be a test. It isn't something you win. It's something that happens naturally when two people connect on a real emotional level. Many men who find themselves in this situation need to take a step back and ask themselves, what am I really chasing? If a woman is emotionally unavailable, is she the right person for them? Is she giving them the same level of interest and effort that they're giving her? Or are they just stuck in a cycle of chasing someone who will never truly reciprocate? There's a difference between healthy pursuit and unhealthy obsession. A healthy pursuit is when two people are mutually interested, and there's a natural progression toward connection. An unhealthy obsession is when one person is emotionally invested while the other remains distant, leading to a toxic cycle of frustration and self-doubt. The truth is, men deserve real love just as much as women do. They deserve a partner who is emotionally present, who values them, and who doesn't make them feel like they constantly have to prove their worth. Love should not be a game of emotional tug-of-war. It should be a partnership built on mutual respect, understanding, and connection. Men who find themselves drawn to emotionally detached women need to recognize the pattern. They need to understand that their attraction might not be about the woman herself, but about the psychological thrill of the chase. And they need to realize that a real relationship isn't about winning someone over. It's about finding someone who meets them halfway from the start. When a woman is emotionally detached, she creates an air of mystery that can be incredibly powerful. Men are naturally curious, and when they don't fully understand something, they become obsessed with figuring it out. A woman who doesn't reveal much about her feelings, her thoughts, or her intentions becomes a puzzle, and men love puzzles. They want to know what she's thinking, why she acts the way she does, and most importantly, whether she actually likes them or not. This uncertainty fuels a man's desire. It makes him constantly think about her, trying to decipher her actions and words. If she doesn't text him back right away, he wonders why. If she seems indifferent to his efforts, he questions what he's doing wrong. If she shows moments of warmth, but then pulls away again, he starts to believe that he just needs to do more to make her stay. This push and pull dynamic creates a cycle of obsession where he's no longer just interested in her. He's invested in the idea of unlocking her emotions. Men associate mystery with value. When something is easily available, it's often taken for granted. This applies to many areas of life, from business to relationships. If a woman makes her feelings completely obvious from the start, some men feel there's no longer any challenge or excitement. But when a woman keeps parts of herself hidden, it makes a man feel like he has to earn access to her emotions. He believes that if he can just prove himself worthy, she will finally let down her guard and give him the love he desires. This is why emotionally detached women often have a strong hold over men without even trying. They don't need to beg for attention. They don't need to chase or constantly remind a man of their worth. Their emotional distance itself becomes the magnet that keeps a man intrigued. He wants to be the one who breaks through her walls. He wants to be the exception, the man who finally gets her to open up. But here's the tricky part. Some women are naturally reserved, while others intentionally create this mystery as a form of control. They know that by being distant, they keep men in a state of constant pursuit. They don't reject them outright, but they never fully commit either. They give just enough to keep a man hopeful, but always remain just out of reach. This keeps the man engaged, always trying, always wondering, always waiting for the moment she finally lets her guard down. This kind of dynamic can be emotionally exhausting. A man caught in this cycle starts to question himself. He wonders if he's good enough, if he's saying the right things, if he's doing too much or too little. He analyzes every interaction, hoping to find signs that she's starting to open up. But in reality, she may never open up because the very thing that keeps him interested is her distance. For some men, this cycle is addictive. They become so consumed by the chase that they forget to ask themselves a simple question. Do I even like this woman for who she is? Sometimes, men fall for the idea of someone rather than the actual person. They are drawn to the mystery, the challenge, the excitement of trying to win her over. But when they finally take a step back, they may realize that the woman they've been chasing doesn't actually align with what they truly want in a partner. A relationship built on mystery and emotional detachment is not sustainable. While it may create initial excitement, it often leads to frustration, insecurity, and exhaustion. A healthy relationship is built on mutual interest, open communication, and emotional availability. If a woman is constantly distant, emotionally unavailable, or unwilling to meet a man halfway, he needs to ask himself if this is truly what he wants in the long run. The real value in a relationship doesn't come from trying to unlock someone's emotions. It comes from finding someone who is willing to be open and vulnerable with you. A woman who values you will not keep you in a constant state of uncertainty. She will not make you feel like you have to prove your worth over and over again just to earn her affection. Men who are addicted to emotionally detached women need to recognize the pattern and ask themselves whether they are chasing connection or simply chasing a challenge. True love isn't about solving a mystery. It's about mutual effort, understanding, and emotional reciprocity. A woman who truly cares will not make you question whether she does. She will show it, and she will make you feel secure, not stuck in an endless game of pursuit. Men are naturally wired to seek control, whether in their careers, personal lives, or relationships. Control gives them a sense of security and direction. But when a woman is emotionally detached, She introduces an element of unpredictability that disrupts this sense of control. This unpredictability triggers something deep within a man. He wants to regain control over the situation. He wants to understand her, win her over, and ultimately feel like he has influence over her emotions. This lack of control is what keeps him coming back. He doesn't know where he stands with her, and that uncertainty creates a powerful psychological pull. If she were openly affectionate and consistent with her feelings, he would feel secure. But security doesn't always spark obsession. It's the instability, the push and pull, the moments of affection followed by emotional distance that make a man feel like he has to keep proving himself. He believes that if he can just find the right approach, say the right thing, or show the right level of interest, she will finally let her guard down and commit to him. The more emotionally distant a woman is, the more a man feels like he has something to fight for. He starts to think that she is special, different from other women, because she isn't easily won over. This fuels his ego. He wants to be the one who succeeds where other men have failed. He wants to be the man who finally earns her love and devotion. This belief keeps him invested, even when he's receiving very little in return. But here's the truth. A woman's emotional detachment is not always a challenge to be overcome. Sometimes she is simply not interested. Other times she may have emotional barriers due to past experiences, personal insecurities, or a lack of readiness for a relationship. Yet men who crave control often refuse to accept this reality. Instead of walking away, they double down on their efforts, convinced that if they just do more, they can change the outcome. This dynamic creates an unhealthy cycle. The more she pulls away, the more he tries to pull her closer. But instead of strengthening the relationship, this often pushes her further away. She doesn't feel emotionally safe, or she simply enjoys the power that comes with being pursued without reciprocating the same level of effort. Either way, the man is left chasing a connection that may never fully materialize. For men who find themselves in this situation, it's important to recognize the difference between healthy pursuit and unhealthy fixation. A healthy pursuit happens when both people are engaged in the process of getting to know each other with mutual interest and effort. An unhealthy fixation happens when one person is emotionally invested while the other remains distant, creating an imbalance of power and emotional turmoil. The irony is that the very thing that makes a man chase an emotionally detached woman, his need for control, is also what keeps him powerless in the relationship. He is constantly adjusting his actions, second-guessing his words, and trying to anticipate her next move. Instead of feeling strong and confident, he starts feeling uncertain and anxious. He becomes emotionally dependent on the rare moments when she does show affection, mistaking them for progress, when in reality, they may just be breadcrumbs that keep him hanging on. Men who find themselves addicted to emotionally unavailable women need to ask themselves a tough question. Am I truly happy in this dynamic, or am I just addicted to the challenge? If the relationship is built on emotional inconsistency, confusion, and constant effort without reciprocation, it may be time to walk away. Real love isn't about trying to win someone over. It's about mutual emotional investment in a relationship that makes both people feel valued, respected, and secure. The more a man tries to control something that is inherently uncontrollable, another person's emotions, the more frustrated and powerless he will feel. Instead of focusing on women who keep them guessing, men should seek relationships where emotional connection is freely given, not something they have to constantly fight for. True love isn't a game of control. It's a partnership where both people are equally committed to each other's happiness and well-being. Scarcity plays a powerful role in human psychology. The less available something is, the more valuable it seems. This principle applies to money, rare collectibles, and even relationships. When a woman detaches emotionally, she creates a sense of emotional scarcity. She gives little, and that small amount feels incredibly valuable to the man chasing her. He starts to see her love, attention, and validation as something rare, something that must be earned. This scarcity creates an emotional high. Every small sign of affection she gives, a text, a compliment, a moment of warmth, feels like a reward. Because she so rarely expresses her emotions, the man places an exaggerated level of importance on the times when she does. He starts to believe that if he just keeps trying, these moments will become more frequent. He convinces himself that she does care, but she just needs time to fully open up. But this is where the trap lies. The woman's emotional detachment isn't always temporary. It might just be who she is. She might be emotionally unavailable due to past trauma, personal insecurities, or simply because she isn't truly interested in the man. Yet, instead of recognizing this, the man often continues to invest in the relationship, believing that he is on the verge of a breaking through. The emotional scarcity effect makes him feel that walking away would mean losing something rare and valuable. He has already spent so much time and effort trying to win her over that leaving now would feel like failure. This is known as the sunk cost fallacy. The idea that the more we invest in something, the harder it is to let go, even when it's not serving us. Men who chase emotionally detached women often don't realize that the scarcity they are experiencing is artificially created. A woman who is emotionally unavailable is not necessarily more special, more valuable, or more deserving of love than a woman who openly expresses her feelings. But because she withholds her emotions, she appears to be more valuable. Her affection is rare, and that rarity tricks the man into believing that if he can just earn it, he will be rewarded with something truly special. This dynamic can lead to unhealthy emotional dependency. The man becomes addicted to the cycle of rejection and reward. Every time she pulls away, he feels anxious and insecure. Every time she shows a small amount of affection, he feels relief and excitement. Over time, this roller coaster of emotions becomes addictive, and he mistakes the highs and lows for passion. But true love isn't about scarcity, it's about abundance. A healthy relationship is built on mutual emotional availability, where both people give and receive love freely. A woman who truly values a man will not make him feel like he has to constantly prove himself just to earn a small piece of her affection. She will make him feel safe, appreciated, and emotionally secure. Men who find themselves in this cycle need to step back and ask themselves an important question. Am I actually in love with this woman, or am I just addicted to the chase? If the relationship is based on emotional highs and lows, inconsistent affection, and constant uncertainty, it is not a healthy dynamic. A man who values himself will seek a partner who values him equally, rather than chasing someone who keeps him in a perpetual state of emotional hunger. Breaking free from this addiction requires recognizing the illusion of scarcity. There are many women who are capable of deep emotional connection and who will give love freely. The key is to stop equating emotional distance with value. The right relationship isn't one where you have to fight for affection. It's one where love and respect come naturally, without games or emotional manipulation.